Magandang araw mga ka-psychics! Ready na ba kayo sa ating unang topic sa mathematics in the modern world? Well, ready or not, narito ang Group 1 upang i-discuss ang ating unang lesson which is about mathematics in our world. So bago tayo mag-umpisa, ito muna ang ating objectives for today's video. First, define mathematics and express its importance in one's life. Next is recognize and identify the occurrence of Fibonacci sequence in nature. Then recognize patterns in nature. Fourth, become more aware of the natural beauty that surrounds them. And lastly, express appreciation for mathematics as a human endeavor. So before we proceed, allow me to introduce myself. I am Nicole Hamandra and I'm going to introduce math to you guys. So let's start. Some of you might wonder, why do we need to learn math? Well, let's explore the reasons together why math is important. Let's start with the definition of mathematics. It is a formal system of thoughts for recognizing, classifying, and exploiting patterns. So, what is math about? Math is about numbers, symbols, notations, operations, equations, functions, and processes. It's a tool we use to understand and solve problems. Math isn't just about equations and formulas. It's about critical thinking, problem solving, and creativity. So, where is math? It is everywhere. It's all around us. Pagising mo pa lang, nandiyan na siya. Pagdilat mo, syempre, check mo kung anong oras ka nagising. And that's already math. After that, ipaplan mo anong gagawin mo for the whole day. Syempre, umpisahan mo yan sa pag-aalmusal. Iisipin mo ilang spoon ng sugar ilalagay mo sa kape mo or ilang pandesal ang kakainin mo for your breakfast. O diba, may math agad? Kunwari, inutusan ka ng mama mong mamalengke. Paglabas mo, nakita mo yung mga buildings and bahay. Inisip mo paano naging matibay yung mga yon. Well, dahil yon sa tamang calculation ng mga engineers. Kinalculate nila ano yung tamang sukat, laki, bigat, dami ng mga product na gagamitin nila para gumanda at tumibay yung mga yon. O diba may math? So, para saan ba ang math? Math is a tool that helps us understand and solve problems in the natural world. It is also to organize patterns and regularities as well as irregularities. Math can be used to predict and manage things like weather and disease outbreaks. And by using math, we discover new things and come up with more questions to explore. How is mathematics done? It is done by approaching problems with curiosity and a strong desire to find patterns and general rules. It's all about seeking the truth and understanding the world around us. Mathematicians aren't afraid to make mistakes or encounter challenges along the way. They often learn through trial and error. They embrace the idea that every question they answer may lead to more questions, and this continuous exploration is a fundamental part of how mathematics is pursued. So, who uses math? Practically everyone. And why is it important to know? Knowing mathematics is important for several reasons. Firstly, it puts order in situations that might seem chaotic or disorganized, helping us make sense of the world and solve practical problems. Secondly, it contributes to personal growth by enhancing critical thinking skills, problem-solving abilities, and logical reasoning which can benefit individuals in various aspects of life. Additionally, math isn't just a subject in school. It's a tool that can help us understand the world and make it a better place. Ngayong na-introduce na natin ang math, let's proceed sa patterns in nature and the world. Patterns are recurring sequences or arrangements of numbers, shapes, or objects that follow a consistent rule or order. It includes symmetries, fractals, spirals, waves, foams, cracks, flow, and other more. Just remember that a pattern is a sequence that is orderly and that repeats anything that is not random. Symmetry is variously defined as proportion, perfect or harmonious proportions, and a structure that allows an object to be divided into parts of an equal shape and size. Basically, pag hinati-hati mo sila, kung ano yung itsura ng isa, ganun din ang itsura ng pangalawa. So, there are 5 classifications of symmetry. first is bilateral or mirror symmetry. It is a type of symmetry where an object or shape can be divided into two equal halves that are exact reflections of each other. This means kapag hinati mo sila sa gitna, yung left and yung right are exactly the same. Next is radial or rotational symmetry. It is where similar parts are regularly arranged around the central axis and the pattern looks the same after a certain amount of rotation. Ang radial symmetry can either be cyclic or dihedral. Cyclic means an object looks the same when you rotate it around a central point, like a wheel. On the other hand, ang dihedral naman ay combination ng cyclic at bilateral symmetry. It means an object not only has rotational symmetry but also has a mirrored sides. Third is translational symmetry. It is when you can slide or shift an object or pattern in a specific direction and it stays the same. It's like repeating a design by moving it without changing its appearance. Madalas tong makikita sa mga wallpapers and tiles. Scaling symmetry, also known as self-similarity, is when an object or pattern looks the same at different scales or sizes. In simple terms, if you zoom in or out the object's smaller parts resembles the whole thing, like a fractal pattern where each part resembles the entire shape. Lastly, time symmetry. In physics, it refers to a situation where the laws of nature and physical processes remain the same whether time moves forward or backward. In simple terms, it means that if you were to reverse the direction of time, things would still behave the same way and there would be no noticeable difference in how events occur.
A pleasant day, everyone. My name is Neil Cedric Sudario and I am going to report about the symmetry in nature. So, by definition, symmetry in biology is the repetition of parts in an animal or plant in an orderly fashion. Symmetry refers to the correspondence of body parts in shape and size and a relative position on opposite sides of dividing line or distributed around the central point of axis. But did you know that there are different types of symmetry in nature? So the first one is called fractals. It is derived from the Latin word fractus, which means fragmented or broken. Fractals are infinite complex patterns that are self-similar across different scales. For examples, lightning and fern leaves. For the second one, it is called the tessellation. A tessellation or tiling is yung gagawa tayo ng pattern or shape in a flat surface tapos walang gaps or spaces. A pattern of shapes that fit perfectly. For examples, cubes and soccer ball. The third type of symmetry in nature is called spirals. So spirals is a plane curve or shape na umiikot. Like for example, typhoon, hurricane, and cyclone. Depende na lang kung saan sila nakikita or nalolocate. As well as yung Milky Way galaxy na nakikita natin sa taas. The fourth type of symmetry in nature is called spots, stripes, and rosettes. It is the beauty that comes in all form in an animal in the world. Stripes, patterns, bonds, dots, colors, and spots na binibigay ng nature sa mga animals. For example, yung spots na nakikita natin sa cheetah is equally distributed around their bodies. Second is yung jaguar na may makikita tayong mga stripes sa kanyang katawan, shaped like a round. And lastly is yung tiger na may makikita tayong mga rosettes. The fifth one is called bubbles. A soap bubble is a spherical shape. Ang isang bubble daw ay merong surface with a minimal area. And it has the smallest possible na surface area for the volume to be enclosed. Two or more bubbles is a complex shape na daw. So, yung both surface ng bubble ay merong spherical shape na, di ba? So, pag may isa pang dumagdag or yung pangatlong bubble, is mababulge in siya dun sa mas malalaking bubble, making a spherical shape in between. The last type of symmetry in nature is called waves and dunes. Waves can be observed like our voice box. Kailangan meron siyang medium para ma-create siya as it travels from where it started away because of the energy energy given by the initial shock.
Moving on with our next topic, which is the Fibonacci sequence, we will start with Leonardo Pisano, also known as Leonardo of Pisa. So, sino nga ba tong si Leonardo Pisano? Leonardo Pisano was born late in the 12th century in Pisa, Italy. So, ang ibig sabihin, si Leonardo is an Italian mathematician. He was often referred to as Leonardo Fibonacci or Bigolo. So, sinerch ko sa Google yung name na Bigolo and ang ibig sabihin is traveler. While yung Leonardo Fibonacci, na nickname, nakuha niya yon sa isang book. So, papaano niya nga ba nakuha yung nickname na Fibonacci? So, let's start to the name of his father, which is Guglielmo Bonacio. So, yung father niya na si Guglielmo Bonacio is nilagay niya sa isang title ng kanyang book, which is yung Liber Abaci. So, dun sa title na yon, nilagay niya yung phrase or word na Filius Bonacci, or ang ibig sabihin is son of Bonacio, or anak siya ni Guglielmo Bonacio. So, itong mga scholars na nagbasa netong book na to is pinagkamalan na surname niya yung Filius Bonacci. So, kapag pinagsama yung Filius and Bonacci, magiging Fibonacci. So, dun niya nakuha yung nickname niya na Leonardo Fibonacci. He studied calculation with an Arab master, later went to Egypt, Syria, Greece, Sicily, and Provence, where he studied numerical systems and methods of calculations. So, yung father kasi ni Leonardo Pisano na si Guglielmo Bonacio, isa siyang merchant. So, may mga times na sumasama itong si Leonardo sa kanyang father para pumunta sa iba't ibang bansa. And sa pamamagitan nito is nakakapagturo siya and nalalaman niya yung iba't ibang mathematical equations and systems natin. He wrote the book Liber Abaci, also known as Book of Abacus, the first European work on Indian and Arabian mathematics where the Hindu-Arabic numerals were introduced to Europeans. So, isa sa mga pinaka-famous work ni Leonardo Fibonacci is yung Liber Abaci. So, dito sa Liber Abaci, nakapaloob yung pinag-aaralan natin ngayon na Fibonacci sequence as well as yung Hindu-Arabic numerals na inintroduce niya sa Europeans during the Middle Ages. He also wrote some works such as indeterminate second-degree equations, Practica Geometriae, also known as Practice of Geometry, and Liber Quadratorium or the Book of Square Numbers. So, because of these works na ginawa ni Leonardo Pisano, there are a lot of people na kino-consider siya as the most talented and the most gifted mathematician during the Middle Ages. So, now, moving forward sa isa sa mga pinaka-famous work ni Leonardo Pisano na Fibonacci sequence, let's move forward to the rabbit problem. So now, si Leonardo Pisano, also known as Leonardo Fibonacci, is gumamit ng rabbit, species of rabbit, or pinag-aralan niya yung rabbits para makabuo ng isang study, also known as the Fibonacci sequence. So, babasahin ko muna yung problem bago ko ma-explain yung Fibonacci sequence. So, the problem is, suppose a newly born pair of rabbits, one male, one female, are put in a field. Rabbits are able to mate at the age of 1 month so that at the end of its second month, a female can produce another pair of rabbits. Suppose that no rabbits will die, and that the female rabbit always produces one new pair, isang male and isang female every month, from the second month on. The puzzle that Fibonacci posed was, how many pairs will there be in 1 year? So, explain ko sa inyo yung problem. So, itong si Fibonacci or si Leonardo, gumamit ng isang pair ng rabbits. Isang male at isang female. So, suppose na sa isang month, itong mga rabbits na to or itong isang pair ng rabbits na to is, sabihin na natin mga bata pa. Sa first month. Sa second month is pwede na silang mag-mate and makapag-reproduce ng isang pair, isang male din and isang female. After nung second month na yon, tuloy-tuloy na every month na nagre-reproduce sila ng mga anak or ng pair. So, kung makikita natin to sa illustration, sa December meron tayong isang rabbit, isang pair, isang one and one female. So, sabihin natin mga bata pa to. Once na dumating na yung second month, which is yung January, naging adult na sila. Pwede na silang mag-mate. So, after nitong month na to, nakapag-reproduce na sila ng isang pair. So, sa isang pair na to, sabihin nating bata pa ulit sila. Bata pa ulit tong mga to. So, after ng isang month ulit, nakapag-reproduce na naman tong bagong pair as well as yung lumang pair. So, kung makikita natin sa illustration na sa first month, meron silang one pair. Second month, one pair ulit. Third month, 2 pairs na sila dahil nakapag-reproduce na. And sa fourth month, 3 pairs na sila. Continuous lang yung nangyayari sa mga rabbits na to hanggang sa tuloy-tuloy silang mag-reproduce. So, nakabuo tayo ng sequence na 1, 1, 2, 3, 5, 8. So, sa 6 naman, meron tayong 8 pairs ng rabbits. Now, babalik tayo sa question. How many pairs will be there in 1 year? So, sa pagkuha ng pair ng rabbits sa isang year, meron tayong dalawang method. Yung unang method is to add the last 2 to get the next. Gets nyo ba? So, i-add natin yung huling dalawang number para makuha yung next na number. So, for example, di ba meron tayong sequence na nabuo na 1, 1, 2, 3, 5, 8. 8 rather. So, yung huling dalawang number is 5 and 8. So, ang sabi dito is add the last 2. So, kailangan natin ipag-add yung 5 and 8 dahil nga sila yung last. So, 5 plus 8 is equal to 13. So, yung next na number sa sequence after nung 8 or yung pang 7th month is meron na tayong 13 pairs of rabbits. So, tuloy-tuloy lang. Next naman na last number is yung 8 and 13. So, kapag pinag-plus mo yung dalawang yon is magiging 21. Next naman is 21 plus 13 dahil sila nga yung pinaka-last na numbers is magiging 34. 34 plus 21, 55. 55 plus 34, 89. And yung 89 na to is yung pang 11th month. Di ba nga 1 year yung hinahanap natin? So, yung pang 12th month. So, adding the last 2 digits, which is 55 and 89, makakakuha tayo ng 144. Meaning, 144 na pair of rabbits yung nabuo natin sa isang buong taon. So, each number in the sequence is the sum of the 2 numbers that come before it. So, dahil sa unang method na to, may nabuo si Albert Girard, which is a French mathematician na isang formula, which is the f sub n is equal to f sub n minus 1 plus f sub n minus 2. So, yun yung first method natin. A-add lang natin yung last 2 digits para makuha yung next digit. So, para naman sa next method na pwede natin gamitin, nakuha ko siya actually sa Google by browsing online. So, itong formula is f sub n is equal to pi carry pi raised to n minus close and open parentheses 1 minus pi raised to n over square root of 5. So, medyo nakakalito siya, no, actually. Pero, madali lang siya since ang gagawin lang naman natin is substitute ng mga numbers. So, yung f sub n muna. Ano ba yung f sub n? Ito yung Fibonacci number. Yung Fibonacci number na hinahanap natin. So, pang ilan bang number yung hinahanap natin sa sequence? 'Di ba ang question is 1 year. So, 12 months yung hinahanap natin. So, magiging f sub 12. So, magiging f12 siya. So, ano naman yung meaning netong n? Yung n, yun din yung pang ilang number. Kung pang ilang number ba yung hinahanap natin. So, same lang sila ng f sub n and yung n na raised to, raised to. So, yung nakikita naman nating parang circle na may hati sa gitna is yung tinatawag nating pi. So, itong pi, meron siyang specific value which is yung 1.618034. So, paano ba nakuha tong pi na to? Paano siya nakuha yung value niya? So, may explain siya later on sa golden ratio na topic. So, now, let's substitute na yung mga numbers na nakuha natin and yung formula. So, f sub 12, since 12 nga, diba, yung hinahanap natin pang 12 sa sequence. So, 1.618034, which is yung value ng pi, raised to 12, kung pang ilan ulit yung hinahanap natin sa sequence, minus, close and open parentheses, 1 minus value ng pi, which is 1.618034 raised to 12 over square root of 5. So, itong formula na to, or yung solution natin is, pwede natin makuha through using our scientific calculator or mga online scientific calculators para mas mabilis and mas madali na lang para sa atin. So, kapag kinompute natin to or nilagay natin sa scientific calculator, ang lalabas is 144.000012. So, nag-match or parehas yung lumabas sa method 1 and method 2 na 144 yung mabubuo nating pair sa isang year. So, because of this Fibonacci sequence or yung rabbit problem na pinag-aralan ni Fibonacci, nagkaroon tayo ng iba't ibang findings or nakahanap siya ng iba't ibang findings dito. So, the first one is that the Fibonacci sequence is all about growth. Thus, it is infinite. So, makikita pa lang natin sa pinagamitan niya or pinag-aralan niya na yung Fibonacci sequence, nakukuha siya or concerned siya sa growth ng isang population. Iba't ibang species man ito, rabbit, or even us, makikita natin na applicable tong Fibonacci sequence. So, it is infinite. So, bakit siya infinite? Kasi yung pag-reproduce naman natin is tuloy-tuloy dito sa mundo. Second is the rule for generating the Fibonacci numbers. Add the last two to get the next. So, katulad ng in-explain ko sa method 1, na itong Fibonacci numbers nakukuha natin kapag inadd natin yung last two digits or numbers para makuha yung next number. So, makakabuo na tayo ng Fibonacci sequence nun. Third is that the sequence is also closely related to a famous number called the golden ratio. So, itong golden ratio na to is ma-explain siya later since may topic din tayong golden ratio. And dito included din yung ginamit natin sa second method which is yung pi na 1.618034 na value na number. And may explain siya mamaya kung paano ba sila naging related sa isa't isa. The fourth one is that the Fibonacci sequence is God's fingerprint. So, bakit ba natin nasasabing God's fingerprint itong Fibonacci sequence na to? So, ang Fibonacci sequence is nakikita sa environment natin. Be it sa fruits man yan, katulad ng pineapples, may patterns yan. Sa mga pine cones, sa mga plants, sa flowers, nakikita rin itong Fibonacci sequence dahil meron silang patterns, as well as sa tao, nakikita rin yan. Diyan sa ear natin, nakikita siya. So, dahil nga tayo ay considered as creation of God, sinasabi na itong Fibonacci sequence na to is fingerprint, or we are made sa fingerprint ni God, or the Fibonacci sequence. It's also been called nature's secret code and the nature's universal code. So, katulad nga ng sinabi ko na nakikita itong Fibonacci sequence sa ating nature, as well as kahit sa pagtatayo ng Pyramid of Giza, is ginamit itong Fibonacci sequence na topic natin ngayong araw. So, yun lang sa ating topic. Moving forward to Fibonacci spiral. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Michelle Jane Masankay, and I'm going to teach you about Fibonacci spiral. Fibonacci spiral, also called as golden spiral, is a geometric pattern that's linked to the golden mean and the Fibonacci sequence. Fibonacci spiral is categorized as a logarithmic spiral. Why? Because it widens by a factor of p after a quarter turn. Fibonacci spiral is also a polar equation because a Fibonacci spiral with an initial radius of 1 follows a polar equation like other logarithmic spirals. Some examples of these are pine cones. Pine cones often exhibit a spiral pattern that follows the Fibonacci sequence with spirally arranged scales that resembles a Fibonacci spiral. Another example are the sunflowers. The seed in the center of a sunflower often follows a pattern related to the Fibonacci sequence, forming a spiral. And lastly, hurricane patterns. Hurricane patterns can sometimes exhibit a shape similar to the Fibonacci spiral, especially when viewed from space.
Good day everyone, I am Sam Manlisis and I will now discuss what the golden ratio is. The golden ratio is also called as the golden number, divine proportion, divine section, and golden mean. It is represented by the Greek symbol phi and it has a value of 1.618. To find the golden ratio, we must first divide a line into two segments, A and B, on which A is the long part and B is the short part of the line. And the whole length of the line is equals to A plus B. After dividing the line into two segments, we will divide the total length of the line, which is A plus B, to the long part of the line, which is A. Then, we will divide the long part of the line to the short part of the line. So, both A plus B divided by A and A divided by B must be equal to the value of the golden ratio, which is equal to 1.618. And that is how we find the golden ratio. Now, let's discuss the relationship between the golden ratio and the Fibonacci sequence. So, we can find the golden ratio in the Fibonacci sequence. We just need to divide a number in the Fibonacci sequence to its predecessor. To further understand it, let's look in the example. Tignan natin yung huling value na nasa example, which is yung 89. So, sa nakikita natin, ang value before 89 sa Fibonacci sequence ay 55. At pag dinivide natin yung dalawa, ang kalalabasan ay 1.618, which is the value of the golden ratio. Also, as we can see in the graph, as the nth Fibonacci number increases, the ratio between it and its predecessor approaches the golden ratio. So, kung titignan natin yung graph, yung unang value ng fn ay 1, at pag dinivide siya sa number before it, which is fn minus 1, which is 1 din, ay 1 ang magiging quotient or ratio nila. Pag tinignan naman natin yung gitna, 8 na yung nth number sa Fibonacci sequence at yung predecessor niya ay 5. Pag dinivide natin yung dalawa, 1.6 na yung ratio niya. At pag tinignan natin yung dulo, makikita natin na 89 yung value ng n at 55 na yung number before it. At yung ratio na nila ay 1.618, which is the golden ratio. Yun yung dahilan kaya nasabi natin na as nth number in the Fibonacci sequence increases, it approaches the golden ratio. Ngayon, alam na natin yung definition at kung paano kunin ang golden ratio o Phi. Alam na rin natin kung ano yung relationship niya sa Fibonacci sequence. Now, let's discuss its application and importance in the real world. As we can see, the application of the golden ratio is everywhere, in architecture, art, music, etc. One of its example is the CN Tower in Toronto. Yan, nakikita natin sa example na ginamit nila yung golden ratio sa pagpapatayo ng tower. Another example is Leonardo da Vinci's famous artwork, which is the Last Supper. Tinawag itong divine proportion noong Renaissance dahil sa paggamit ni Da Vinci ng golden ratio para mabuo yung artwork. And the last example is the violin. Makikita natin na yung iba't ibang parte ng violin ay ginamitan ng golden ratio. They made it that way because the golden ratio provided the perfect proportion for the violin to make a beautiful sound. That ends my discussion about the golden ratio. But before we end the lesson, balikan uli natin yung kahalagahan ng mathematics sa ating mundo. First, mathematics helps organize patterns and regularities in nature, tulad ng honeycomb at flowers na diniscuss natin kanina. Second, mathematics predicts the behavior of nature and many phenomena. Example of this is the stripes of the zebra to repel flies. Third, mathematics helps control the nature and occurrences in the world. And lastly, mathematics has applications in many human activities like architecture, art, music, and many more. Before ending the discussion, I will leave you with two quotes. First, neglect of mathematics works injury to all knowledge, since he who is ignorant of it cannot know the other sciences of the world. That is from Roger Bacon. And second, mathematics is the language on which God written the universe. Galileo Galilei. That ends our discussion about Chapter 1, Mathematics in Our World. Thank you very much for listening.